Hello. 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 Are we here? Are we doing things? Are we streaming? I am here and I am streaming. I guess the question is, are you here and observing? Queco, hello. Matthias, Controni. Can't tell what that last glyph is. Pyroman, hello, 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 hello. People are here. That is good. I'm not just chatting to myself. I would still show up and chat to myself even if no one showed up. But it's far more delightful when other people are around. Julian, hello. It's non-stop sensible content. Oh yeah, I can't remember. This is the problem when I skip a stream. Or skip, like, I cannot make a stream. I can't remember what I was doing. It was something physics, something need to refactor something to make static geometry better because it was slow. Pyroman, I wonder that as well. I too wonder what we're going to be doing today. Sure. Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna press a button. I think I'm gonna press this one. Okay, good start. User, hello. Let's run it and see where we are. I should have done the full build off screen because with the last build it would have done is the release build, and it's like, I guess I'll rebuild like a sixth of all your translation units. Tobiah, hello. But yes, I think we had Jolt rendering collision shapes for arbitrary geometry, which was pretty sweet, but it was, I think the technical term was dogshit slow. And there's a multitude of things we need to do. One, we don't need to create collision shapes for the ceiling. And two, I think we need to mark it as like static geometry, which my understanding is Jolt has a slightly more optimized path from because it can assume it's never going to move. So I think we need to kind of investigate that. And I think the way we store all the entities at the moment in the scene, we might need to separate that out into dynamic and static entities. And then that way we can color the dynamic collision shape, debug shapes differently. I think that'd be a whole thing. So I think today is just kind of make progress on that. Why not Unity? The whole point of this is to build something from scratch and see what that looks like. What does it mean to build something from scratch, or as much from scratch as possible? Okay, so is the background volume all right? Because it's very much tied to my system volume, and I would have changed that since the last stream. Did you? Yo, hello. Okay, so yeah, we've got, this is slow. Yeah, there's nothing, in no way will I ever say there's anything bad about using an engine. I think if you want to build a game, you should use a pre-existing engine. You should not do what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing because I think it's fun, and because I think there's interesting conversations we can have around C++ and programming language design and architecture, and it's just a bit of fun. Also, I kind of really just want to put off making the game bit. I just want to do some C++ programming. Okay, so this is slow, but I think we can speed it up by one. So the white outline, I know they're slightly off center. That can be fixed. The white debug lines are the collision shapes, and that is an incredibly complex collision shape around that lamp, which I'm never going to hit. So I think we can basically just throw away everything that is above my head, and it'll be fine. Also, at the moment, nothing interacts with it. The green is my capsule that I live in as well. So we need to wire all that in. We need to handle the collisions. I think the first thing is to try and make this a little bit more optimal, and then fix the offset, because like if I have to walk to this wall to test it every time, that is like, no one's having a good time there. So I think the first thing to do is just strip out what geometry we want. I think we just want floors and walls and pillars, and everything else can kind of go away, I suspect. here? Question mark. Obviously, was having a slight existential crisis at that point. Rid of that. I think I've got a clean working tree. Yeah. Okay. 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 Let's get out of this. So where do we build? What's the static collider entity? Oh, that was it. To shove into the scene, the entity has an optional static collider, which I'm not sure if I like or not. I guess it's kind of okay for now. I think we can modify this though. To take a color, just so we can differentiate the static stuff out. I think that might make it. Yes, I wish you a speedy recovery and all the best for you. I think we can probably, because we take a white color here, I think we can probably just take a color in here. I'm just going to make this. I think this is a sort of quick win change for us now. Take in a const color, and then thanks Joel. Draw. And then we can. Do I have a utils for converting colors in like Jolt utils? Oh, interesting. I only have it from, not to. That can be. That can be changed. GPH color. My goodness, what is going on here? It's a hot mess. Oh, Emery became a member. Thank you very much. Oh, Marie 14 months. That did not pop up in my other chat. We're all having a great time, and long time no see to you too. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for sticking out so long. I mean, like OpenGL is like OpenGL, right? It doesn't really matter doesn't matter a huge amount what language you're driving it through. Obviously, the runes you'll draw in the sand will be different, but you'll still be still the same concepts. There's a lot going on, and I can't really see what it is. But I've reached some sort of milestone on Twitch, which is exciting. But I didn't see what it was before it disappeared. If you're trying to break, my chat's synced. I feel like there's a lot going on that I'm not. Damok subbed. Thank you very much. I got there in the end. I do try and thank people as they do things. Okay. Thanks, Quacker. I'm glad someone knows what they're doing. Okay. Yeah, I think if you're trying to break into game dev, don't do what I'm doing, because it will just take a long time. I mean, you'll learn a lot, but I think it will take a lot of time to make a game. It really, I guess, really depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to make a game, you should just use an engine. Or something like SDL or Raylib or something that kind of gives you primitives to get up a window and draw and sort of start actually laying out the game. Doing everything from scratch does take, as we've found, does take a long time. Return my dome in the way. No, okay. I'm going to assume I can do this. Oh man. When we get reflection though, can I not? What's the color when it's at home? It has a JPH export GCC bug workaround. Hash define. Love that. Really like that. It doesn't take float inputs. Let me close this so we can see what's going on. Okay, so the issue here is Jolt has a color class which I want to interrupt with, so I'm gonna have to write some translation code anyway, and it only takes in uint8ts, which is not the end of the world. It's just not what I've got. So we can fix that quite easily. Oh, that bot claimed their first victim. Cool. Okay, const auto float to int equals const float value. So this is going to need to return, it's a value between 0 and 255. So we're going to static cast std uint8t v times 255.05. So that will scale it to the right range and then slap it in the right type. So this should then allow us to do float. Okay, that should work for us now, nicely. Okay, so back to the thing I was actually trying to do, which was here, and then do, I should have known it was a byte because I can see the values there. To native color, okay. Do I need jolt utils? Oh, I got jolt. To jolt. To jolt, yeah. Sorry, I got me my whatever rando naming convention that I've come up with the wrong way around. Yeah, well, Nightbot's just doing Nightbot things. I do want to fire Nightbot at some point, but the alternative I want is not ready yet. At least it wasn't last time I checked. I could check the logs, I guess. What platform is that? YouTube. Let's see. No, well. Let's have a quick look. Let's check I don't bring up something I don't want everyone to see, but I think I want this. Continue. Right, loading. Logs. Who's not banned phrase? Ah, yes. There's unfortunately, there is one word you've been using that often comes with a torrent of ridiculous spam. So I have blacklisted it. So the son of the Christian god is often along with a tirade of rubbish. So I apologize for that. That was from experience. I had to add that, which is a shame. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, unfortunately, a few people ruin it for the many, which is, not great. But I had to add that, basically. A tirade? I thought torrent was the right word. Anyway, okay, let's see if this won't build, right, because I've not updated the call site for the debug, but I think it's only in 2 places. But we'll just see where that goes. Right, Lua level 295 and 299. Lua level 295 and 299. Nailed it. Okay, so let's do... Did I have some... Oh yeah, we can use... Let's render the static in colors azure, and we'll render everything else in colors. This is a bit of a side quest. This the character controller is green, and that must be set somewhere else. It's on. How do I? The problem is I don't actually really know how to use Nightbot, which is a bit sad. I don't know how I how do I unban someone? Yes, I would. I would, because I think it was unfairly. I can click. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. I've loaded the game, which means I've now lost control of my mouse. Hold on a second. Okay, that's better. Okay. I'm afraid you might be out of luck. You might just have to wait. I think Nightbot has become sentient and removed my ability to interact, because there's literally nothing I can see in the API in their UI that lets me undo something. You just have to wait the 10 minutes out, I'm afraid. my deepest apologies for the tyrant that I have employed to maintain order. Toxilio. So head over, if you can, head over to Discord. There is a section in there called video suggestions. Put it in there, put with as much details as you can, and I will accompany that. I think you will get an auto message, but I will give you my usual weasel words, which are I look at every suggestion, and I will do what I can, but I can make no promise. However, there are other people. The Discord is pretty busy now, and there might be other people who are interested in helping out or can offer you some guidance. So, excuse me, do drop it over there if you can. Hopefully someone can bang Discord in the chat for your a link for your convenience. Yes, indeed. I believe Nightbot holds a grudge. I want Firebot, I think it is, which is the one you run locally, which I feel would give me more control, but they have not yet rolled out YouTube support. I think that's coming in version 6. Yeah. So I'll hopefully have a locally hosted version soon. Okay, right. So that worked. So let's go back to where we build this, which is here. So we have a list of entity names. These are names that we search for in the cache to build the level. So you can see there like columns and door rail and lamps. So and then through this, we create an entity, and it has this here is the optional mesh transform shape mesh. This here is the optional mesh shape, right? Which Jolt is then uses the geometry for the mesh data to build. So we basically need to have a sublist. And this lambda is getting heavy. I think I might need to pull this out into just a separate function just to keep this code from ballooning out. SV means string view, so it just auto converts it to a string view rather than relying on the implicit cast. It would be a C style string, const char star, without the SV. But the SV means it just automatically converts into a string view. You don't normally need it because there is an implicit cast between const char star and string view. But in certain situations, like here with make tuple, this will just use the types that you have to make the tuple, and I definitely wanted them to be a string view, so that's why it's useful in very sort of niche, slightly niche circumstances than that. As an example. Okay, got there in the end. I've got my words out. So now I'm going to do const auto level colliders. That obviously won't like that because you can't use ctad without thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy all these, and then we're just gonna go and remove the ones that we don't want. Yes, I think that actually is better. Let's do static geometry colliders. I think C is a great language for learning systems programming. Like if you want a slightly more gentle introduction to pointers and manual memory management and manual resource management and interacting with the platform API, C is like a good starting point. For me, I don't think I'd be writing any large scale software in it because I don't. For me, it doesn't scale the way I want it to. Obviously, you've got the Linux kernel, which is written in C, but I would want more from my language, which is why I use C++. But I think C is a great learning. C is a great educational language. Okay, so we're going to want. We definitely don't want. We want the columns. I don't think I want the door rail. I definitely don't want the lamps. Definitely want the light block. I definitely don't want the lower roof. Lower roof. I want the main floor. Not convinced, but sure. Main walls. Don't want the roof. Don't want the roof. Don't want the roof. Don't want the sky. Do want the sliding door and the door frame. Don't want the tap. Do want the wall beams. No. No, no. I think that's all we need. So then we can just do... let's do const auto... no, let's not. Let's do auto. Static collider. Is it collider or collidor? Equals std ranges contains static why is it not picking that up? Geometry colliders. Whatever the name of my thing is, I'm looking up. E. So if it contains that, then we'll have a whole load of J's. Oh my goodness. Come off here. Then we'll have one of these, else we'll have std null opt. Okay. So if the name of the thing that we're processing is in the static geometry colliders, then we'll make an optional for that. And then here we can just std move in the static collider, which basically copies anyway because it's well, I'll call the move construct on the internal object. Okay. I really like C#. Someone mentioned C#. Big fan of C#. Great language. So in this, the rendering is all done with OpenGL. The windowing and the event management and the keyboard handling and all that is all bespoke. Just I wrote it all using the Win32 API. So the physics engine is Jolt, which I did take off the shelf because I'm not writing a physics engine. The scripting language is Lua, but we wrote all our own custom Lua bindings and did all the glue and boilerplate for that. So it was just the Lua, C Lua library, and then we abstracted it. I think that's really it, apart from maybe like STB for image format processing. Everything else is custom, basically. We use Zstud, the compression algorithm, for the resources, but most of the stuff I say is hand rolled. I mean, yes, obviously, I mean, quite a lot has happened in the last sort of 27 years of C++ since 98. Gtest, yes, that's a good point. Gtest, I don't think we've needed gmock, but it's there and waiting. Gtest for the unit tests. I'm just using, my goal is to just use vanilla C++ up to the latest standard supported by the compiler. So I'm avoiding, where possible, any compiler-specific extensions. I think that's the main technologies we're using. This is C++ 23, yeah. It'll be 26 when I can get hold of it, basically. That'll be a fun stream, because I imagine we'll still be going. Okay. Well, that's already back to being pretty smooth. That's much nicer. So we've got the floor. We've got the walls. I still think we should make Jolt think of this as, you can see the aliasing artifacts on the really thin lines back there where it's trying to blend across them. I guess that's the problem with MSAA, like what in anti-aliasing in general. It makes normal geometry look much better, but really thin stuff like lines, it really freaks out on. I mean, JThread came in C++ 14, I think, didn't it? 14 or 17. So that's a good update. I'm not gonna lie. Like JThread is the thread we should have started with. Just can't break backwards compatibility, so I guess we'll just stick a J in there. Joe, I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I have no opinion on Rust because I've never really spent any time with it, so it's hard for me to I cannot, in good conscience, have an opinion on it because I've not sat down and used it in anger yet. I think that might be a fun stream. Maybe just trying Rust for a first time. Don't look too much at the back of this wall. It's not coloured in properly. Okay. Yes, I follow C++ 26 pretty closely. I am so excited for reflection. I'm going to reflect the shit out of stuff as soon as I can. I've already started playing around with it. I've already got a mini project written in it to have a play around with it. I've written a ASP.NET style web server with reflection, so you can automatically reflect out the roots of your HTTP requests to a class and then a function name, or sorry, the paths get reflected out of the class. So when you access, localhost / class name / method, it automatically finds that and handles it. I think they've added it, just no one's implemented it yet. Oh, it's going to make Lua binding so much nicer. No, I think I don't agree with that. If you like, because maybe with runtime reflection, but C++ it's all going to be compile time reflection, so you can inspect your at compile time. You're guaranteed to be able to correctly inspect your code. I say correctly, but it'll be compile time checked, and then you can create more code from that as well. So, like automatically turning enums to strings, for instance. Automatically like making database orms over structs, automatically serializing structs to JSON and back. It'll become so much easier. Like serialization is going to be a totally different game after reflection, and that's only with just the things we're thinking of now. I genuinely think reflection is going to make a massive change to the language. I mean, the lines are only for debug, so I'm not too fussed about it. It's just something I observed and was sort of worth calling out. Xanax, Jihaj, glad you're enjoying the content. Thank you for the kind words. No, I don't do private server work. It's not really my thing. Doing anything with private servers is a huge amount of effort and is more, depending on the game, I guess, more legally questionable than I'm willing to kind of accept risk-wise into my life. Yeah, I think the more interesting question for me is like when, not how, because the standard is the standard. I mean, obviously how they implement it will be interesting, but the end result to the user should be the same. Okay, let's comment some of this up because I think we made a few changes. So convert native color to Jolt. That's a good one. Stuck. So that'll be comment up, set debug line color, and then this is going to be filter which level geometry gets a static collider. Nailed it. Okay, I think something. Making Jolt accept it as static geometry is effectively an optimization tweak at this point, and I'm not sure whether it is worth the time now, and we'd be better off just actually getting the collision detection working and responsive within the game, because at least my CPU can handle it, or whether it's worth doing now before we forget about it and the code gets too complex. I'm really not sure. I'm kind of thinking I just want to make progress on the game and figure out like the optimization of it later. Yeah, but again, because it's all at compile time, you'll just be seeing the net result of it. But yes, I understand more what you mean now. Yeah, I am. So this is a really interesting point, right? There are not many comments in my code. This is what you see when I do this live is, I'd say, 90% of how I code for real. And by and large, I would say I'm a serial overcommenter. I probably write far more comments than I need to most of the time. I think if you look at a lot of my repos, maybe there's lots of comments. The interesting thing about this project is because it's all done like this. So my end goal is for at least the first version of this game, every single line of code was written live. And that basically means I'm making a lot of refactoring, a lot of changing, and it's quite organic. But it's just me working on it, and I can normally keep most of the context in my head. That being said, is the one thing I probably don't do, the one maybe slight change to how I would do this if I was just sitting down quietly doing it at home. Maybe. Next project, who knows? Maybe I'll document it a bit better. Also, part of me, maybe a bit selfishly, thinks that writing comments isn't maybe the most interesting thing for people to watch. Maybe they're more interested in writing the code and the debugging. So I've maybe took that view quite early on, and I'm kind of stuck with it now. So I don't know. It's a really good point. I do think about this a lot. I do. It's the one aspect of this code that doesn't truly reflect, I think, how I code personally. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a deal breaker because the code is changing so much, and we're changing stuff all the time. A lot of the comments will probably go out of sync, and then arguably a wrong comment is worse than no comment. So, good point. If you do look at the GitHub clone of this code, which is a little bit behind, that is much better documented than this, and that is much more like how I truly code. But yeah, excellent point. I wouldn't say I lose sleep over it, but I do think about it quite a lot. I'm glad you're getting there, Doomstar. I would say that maths is more of a prerequisite for, I guess, potentially games programming, because there's a lot of potentially a lot of linear algebra and stuff. But I don't think maths is a prerequisite for just sort of general problem solving in coding. See, for me, there's no point, what you've described there is Git. I can always just git blame a line and find out when I committed that. Obviously, assuming I commit it at the point I write it. So that's I think for me there are better tools for sleuthing who does what and when. Sheen254 gifted 5 subs on Twitch. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. I think people. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you very much. Okay, so the thing for I like to talk a lot about code, right, and software engineering, and people always have different opinions, which is absolutely fine. And I think that's part of the beauty of the field. I know a lot of people are like, code should be self-documenting. It should be so clear you don't need to comment it. I think, and that is not what I've strived for, by the way. That a lot of this code is not clear and is not self-documenting. I think that phrase kind of misses a slight point in comments. For me, comments also help you capture non-functional requirements or things that didn't work, or justifications for doing things in certain ways. It's not necessarily explaining the code, it's explaining the reasoning you get to that. And I think that's where the a real power of comments comes in, because you look at something and you come back to it 5-6 months later, and you're like, oh, this is rubbish, I'm gonna rewrite it. And you're like, oh, this doesn't work this way. That would appear better. Oh, I remember why now. It's because of XYZ. That is a great comment. That's we have to do this way because of the current limitations in XYZ. Here's a link to Stack Overflow which explains it better. That's a good comment. Yes, I try and inject a little bit of. I try and keep my comments reasonably light-hearted as well. But again, humor is subjective, even more so in the written form, so it doesn't always come across. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The code should say how, the comments should say why. Anyway, I'm getting a bit off track here because I'm really trying to put off making a decision. I think I'm gonna continue my philosophy of writing code that works now, and we can optimize the collision detection later. I'm 90% sure that's the right choice. I am 10% sure I'm going to massively regret this later. But let's keep going with this. So in the character controller, we actually have this is where we debug with green. So the character controller has an on-contact added function as part of it. So I think, but I don't think we're actually getting any of this printed out. Also, what's this? That was obviously. Oh, I vaguely remember that being a massive pain. Let me just. So character controllers are. I'm going to say something now, which is observation and based on absolutely zero industry experience, because I've never worked in the games industry. I think character controllers are notoriously difficult to create, and they tend to be quite unique and tuned for the game you're making. So I think we're going to now want to kind of tune our character control a little bit to basically respond to collision events. However, I have on contact added. I have an in character, right? And then I have like body ID and all this sort of stuff. So in theory, this should be being called when we collide with something. I'm quite a big fan of AI assisted tools for programming, but I think so. I work with, well, I help train and mentor a lot of junior developers and graduates and stuff like that. I think the tooling is maybe slightly easier for me because I have a fair amount of experience, and it's easier for me to at a glance get a bit of a good feel of whether that code is good or not. And I have the experience and the patience to debug it. I think if you're using it to learn programming, I think it denies you sorry, let me I'm trying to get my thoughts quite clear on this. I think if you purely rely on it to learn, as in to just write the code for you, I think you deny yourself an opportunity to make mistakes, and mistakes is where you learn. Okay. I think if you want to use it as basically a glorified documentation search, what does this method do? What does this method do? What does this mean? That sounds great, right? There's no difference to looking up on Stack Overflow. It's just all the information in one place. I think if you're like, oh, write this code to solve this problem, and it just does it, and you don't get the intuition as to why, or the kind of opportunity to have made some mistakes and figure some stuff out, I think then it might be a bit of a hindrance. Mate, I'm so far behind on the shorts game. I think I'm up to like January or February. I just have not had the time. Oh, I've got a new emote for everyone. That's exciting. On Twitch, that is. Sorry, YouTube. At least you get other advantages. Yeah, I think so. I think where it really excels is writing code. I already know how to write. I just don't want to, or I want to shortcut. So writing tests or doing refactoring or stuff like that. I've been genuinely impressed with some of the code it turns out, but also on some of the more niche, exploratory new stuff, or where the problem isn't well defined, it has the typical AI issues that all AI has, where it can only kind of go off previous knowledge. It can't forward think for you. Even some of the agentic stuff, which is pretty cool, isn't perfect, and it would go off and be like, you're like, hey, this didn't work, and you'd be like, oh yeah, here's the 10 steps I need to fix it, and then like it'll rewrite all your code, and then it'll be even worse. Yeah, exactly. So I don't use any AI. Basically, I mean, I look up stuff where I need to, but I'm not using. So normally I use Copilot, but I've got Copilot turned off for this project because I want to write everything from scratch and kind of show you guys how I go about it. But I use Copilot pretty consistency, I'd say, both personally and professionally. I would say memorization is not the end game. Familiarity is. So I know I can recall quite a lot of the standard library, especially the common bits around algorithms and the containers that you tend to use day to day, but not the more niche stuff. But I've been using C++ enough that I can sort of recall, oh yeah, I think there's something in the standard for this, but I can't remember the exact runes I need to draw in the sand to summon it. And then, but because I know it exists, I can then go and look it up. So I think familiarity is more important than pure memorization. You want to have had some experience with it, so you can then recall at that point, yes, this thing does exist, but I can't remember. I assume it's like engineering. You probably never remember every single formula you need for building a bridge, as an example off the top of my head, but you probably know at least what textbook to go look in to find them, or roughly where you would locate them. I do. I think the Baji makes an interesting point that I'm quite interested in like what the long term like mental shift is after using tools like this for a long time, because even I found myself like, it's like, I'll just get Copilot to do it. Do you know what I mean? But what is the what is the, if you draw that out, what is the logical conclusion of that? And I don't know. We're making a little puzzle game at the moment, or actually we were. I've just been gassing for the last 15 minutes because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, why is this not working? Why is on contact add not working? So hopefully we can all agree. Let's just run headfirst into a wall and just convince ourselves that this is not being called in the game, obviously, not IRL. But I have set up my own Bags GPT at home, which uses a proxy to allow me to connect to various different LLM backends, and I can pay per token rather than pay per month, which has been quite fun to set up. And then I've got my own internal, like, it's OpenWeb UI, which is like a ChatGPT style prompt, like chat thing, and then I can just point that at Gemini or whatever I've onboarded. And then my home automation tracks the token spend because I'm a nerd. Yeah, definitely not getting that. So why is that? I wonder if it's to do with the layer filtering. We're going to have to go back in time and try and remember how this works. Oh yeah, I think reading assembly I think is can be a useful skill depending on what you're doing, because, and not even for reverse engineering, like I think eventually if you're doing native coding, eventually you'll get some miserable bug, a core dump, it won't have the symbols, it'll be optimized away, something, you've got to at least try and figure out where the null pointer dereference came from. I think having some familiarity with basic assembly is useful. I don't think there's much need to write it. Yep, we're jolting. Check the barrels as that collides with each other. As in just like check that collision still works, you mean? Like we haven't broken it? Or check if I can collide with the barrel. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. See if I can collide with the barrel. Oh, I see. Check the code. Yeah, okay. So that comes from collision. It puts it on the message bus. But I cannot remember where. Let's go to Lua level. This is a little bit of a code spelunking today because it's been a while since I did this. So you've got handle entity intersect. So what posts handle entity, what message is associated with that? So if we go to message bus, you got entity intersect. So what does post entity in, where's that called from? Post entity from Lua level. Great. Oh no, we do it manually, don't we? I think we do it manually. I don't think we go via the physics engine. I think we just use that to construct the shapes, and then we use their intersects. Get that right in a second. Oh no. Oh, I think we're staring down the barrel of a really miserable refactor here. Because don't you remember we had to iota the crap out of this. Now this code needs comments. Like this is, I'm looking at this now, I'm like, what the hell did I write? It's not, the C++ stuff I don't think is too bad. I think it's just not like I would say it's reasonably standard modern C++. This, I think there's just quite a lot going on in the update function. We get the original position of the entities. We loop through. I will admit that the sort of weird double IO to loop thing is a bit esoteric. I just really wanted to use ranges. We just enumerate the entities. We call their Lua backing script. We update the position, and then we go through and pairwise check each of the entities. To be honest, I don't think there's much of an easier way of writing this. And then we check if they intersect. I just wonder if we can do, what does C here, right? This is on transform shape. I think we can do this ourselves. I think we can just loop through the static geometry, which we will need to pull out separately, and just check if something collides. It is debuggable because I use VS Code to debug it, basically. If I got it open, is that what I want? Yeah, so if we wanted to, great, I'll just close that. Didn't need that anyway. So here I can set debug points and step through it. So that's basically how we debug that. So we have, that's it, the static, the magical static function in Jolt called collide shape versus shape. And because everything is a Jolt shape still, I think this is what we want. I think we can do this. I think we're onto a winner. I think we just need to make this function even more complicated. I might be tempted to pull some of this out into subfunctions. Because at least if you give a name to the subfunction, right, that makes it a little bit more self-documenting, because I have to have given it a name. As long as I don't call it like func1. Is this zero overhead? I mean, I'm really tempted to with a sarcastic answer here, but like, you'll have to be a little bit more, like, compared to what? This is just structured bindings on the combinations, which is a pair. So it just pulls out the first. It just means I don't have to do .first, .second. Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, so let's, before we do this function is grim. I think we want to break this up. Also, update is, like, if you want one function to do one thing and one thing only, like, I guess it is doing an update, but it's pretty busy. Let's add some more to it. Let's do, okay, how about this? For const auto static entity, okay, in, do I have a scene? I think I do have a scene. Dot entities, okay. Filtered, okay, bear with me, on e dot static geometry collider. Okay, so what I want to do is I only want to loop through the objects with a static geometry collider on them. Okay. Obviously, this won't work because this will try and return the optional. So what you can do is, hang on. Ooh, I've got a. Sorry, that should be that. No in entities. Oh, it's a function. That's why. that's annoying. I don't want to return the whole entity. So what I was going to do is, assuming I had access to this object, you could then, if this was an optional, you could do has value, or you could do the slightly less readable trick that I do, which is bang bang it, which implicitly converts it to a bool, but will negate it, and then you negate it back. That being said, we'll just make this auto has static collider const bool. Okay. So then we can just do e has static collider. Yes, I know this will be a link error. We'll sort it out in a minute. Okay, so this will now lazily go through all the entities and pick out all the ones with static colliders on them. So this here is the bitwise OR operator, but C++ allows you to overload operators. Basically, it means it allows you to say when you. So imagine you have an operator like or plus or any of the mathematical operators that you expect. When C++ compiles your code and it says like int plus int, it'd be like, pretty sure I know how to add an int, so I'll do that for you. Operator overloading allows you to tell the compiler what it should do when it sees a type that's not one of the built-in types. Effectively, it allows you to customize for your specific types. So a good example of this would be vector. Because I have like operator minus here and operator plus, I can do vector plus vector, and the compiler will see that, go, I don't know how to add vectors. Let me look to see if the user has told me how to, and if it does, it will then call this function. That's the key thing, it calls this function. So what's the point of me saying all that? In the ranges library, the authors decided to overload the bitwise OR operator to make it look a bit like, effectively like the Linux pipe operator. So this is a piping, in this sense, it's a pipe operator, although it's not called that in the standard. You can think of this as a pipe operator. So you take this and you pipe it into this, and then you basically keep chaining up these things. I don't think I've got a better example of it here. There you go, yeah. So I can create an iota, which I guess is an apomorphism, is a thing that takes a single value and produces multiple ones, pipes that into transform, pipes that into join. What am I doing wrong? Why is it not this? So I want to take the entities and I want to filter them all based on ones that have a static collider. Yes, so they did. So the canonical hello world, which has stood the out hello world, overloads the left shift bit shift operator for the cout object. I hate this. I hate teaching C++ with this because this is hello world and it's really confusing because now you have to worry about, just to do hello world, you have to worry about hash includes in the preprocessor, you have to worry about operator overloading, you technically have to worry about ADL if you want to get really into it. Like what a miserable introduction to the language. Anyway, rant over. Bit shift left, thank you. Left shift bit, left shift bit, yeah, that one. I don't know why this isn't working, but I'm just going to get the compiler to tell me. I suspect miserable errors. Correct, yes. I mean, I use println, like println is like my favorite C++ 23 feature. I use it religiously everywhere. Cout is dead to me. What am I missing? This error's not too bad. Could be worse. Here we go. Must have. Oh, it's a pointer. That's why. And so this should really be a star. Oh, I had to type in the other file, did I? Okay. Oh yeah, I did. I'd say that's pretty par for the course. A couple of thousand lines of errors because I had a typo and I'd used the wrong operator. That's pretty standard for C++. Like, really, what else is it going to do? So this is the linker error that I was talking about, I think. Oh, nope. 267. Oh, this is just me. The compiler's quite correctly said you created this thing called static entity, but you never used it, which one might argue is a bug, especially if the object has no side effects. Vector is like, should be your default container as far as I'm concerned. Like, I hate to give like broad strokes like thou shalt or thou shalt not kind of advice, but I would say thou shalt reach for vector first. Yeah, we'll get the linker in a minute. I'll show everyone what it looks like. It'll be fun. There is an open source version of this. Next project I want to kind of do much more open source on. Okay, what we at? Oh, Twitch and YouTube numbers are getting close today. That's exciting. Okay, so what am I going to do? So now I want to do if. Where does the who owns? Oh Jesus, who owns the character controller? Who owns the character controller? Did we say the player owned it, or did we say, or do I own it? Player owns it. And does player expose it? Do I not even have a player in here? Oh no. Ooh. I think our abstraction is wrong. Does it live in the level routine? The coroutine that sits above this. Oh, that is too many that is too many splits for this font size. Gosh darn it. Do I pass it to update? What a great question. Oh, what a great observation. Yes. Thank you. Oh, you beautiful. Do they expose the controller? Oh, look, there's a comment. What are you talking about? Got a comment. Got a comment, mate. Okay, this needs to, let's add some more linker errors. Auto controller. Oh, I'm passing by const, don't I? Oh. Auto controller. This auto self return self dot controller. I think that'll work for us. That is a contentious point. I think not contentious point. It's a point of debate over how much auto is too much. So when auto first came out in C++11, everyone was like, "Yeah, it's the best thing ever. Let's use it all the time." And the advice was AA, always auto. And then I think as people started to use it more, some people thought it wasn't necessarily a good idea. So the advice became AAA, almost always auto. I'm an always auto. I don't need a return type because I'm going to deduce it to be whatever this is, because if this is the whole point of deducing this here is that self will be const player if it's invoked on a const object, which will then return, I believe, will automatically convert this as a const ref. So I want to leave it the type deduced there by the compiler. This auto here is deducing this. This auto here is the return type, and I need both of them for this to work. This is a little trick to prevent you having to write multiple overloads for const and non-const for the same member function, basically. Yeah, I mean, technically you have to write it 4 times as well, but most of the time, most people are exposed to this problem through, I'd say, the const and non-const version rather than the the sort of, I guess, the value category differences, or whether it's called an R value reference or an L value reference. The engine's capable of, well, hopefully we'll get to there in a minute. I'm kind of gassing at the moment. Right, so player dot controller, nice, dot intersects. Oh, is that not const? Oh, we're gonna have a bad time. Oh no, I need the collider shape, don't I? I need the collider shape. Oh, where the hell does that live? Oh, man, we're gonna go deep on this. We're gonna break all the abstractions. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if auto is making the code harder to read, either demonstrably or, I guess, through your own opinion, then don't use it. I like it. Okay, so we've got a... All right. Wait a minute. Whoa. Let's take this back. Let's go to our character controller. We create the shape somewhere, right? Don't we create somewhere the capsule? Isn't that in here? Capsule shape. Here we go. Right. I need access to this. Oh, Christ, via a transformed object, though. Oh, it's gonna be grim. Right. This is where real code lives. Where the magical abstraction that you thought would make your life easier doesn't quite fit. We don't store it. We sure do new it though, so I guess someone deletes that. We got this M shape, right? And this is a rotated translated shape settings, which are of course create and then get. So we have a rotated translated shape in settings M shape. Okay. My question is, once we like ram that down the throat of character virtual, can I still reference this afterwards and pull it out, or do I need to pull it out by character virtual? What the hell are all these noobs doing? Who wrote this terrible code? Or is it already unlikely I would have written a raw new. Oh, it's a Jupiter ref. I don't feel quite so bad about it. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I just take a let me write what I'm thinking. Ref shape, right? I've got a horrible feeling this is going to be some miserable undefined behavior. Can I do after this shape equals settings M shape? Well, obviously not because it doesn't like that, but like ref const shape. Can I do that? Yeah, I guess the other thing is, does it... Yeah, okay. That's my first choice. The other one is, can we then just basically put it out from the function? Yeah, I guess that new there is, it's potentially going to leak if we throw. Or if one of these other creation things throw. Okay, so in that way, actually, can we do shape equals character? Get shape. That'll. In fact, actually, okay, let's take this all back. Don't need any of this. This will break the encapsulation. I don't like exposing internal types or third-party types as part of my API. That's not what I'm here for, because that's the point of encapsulation, is to define a set of vocabulary types through which the rest of your system interacts, and you convert it to and from the measurable implementation types as and when you need it. Returning a shape here breaks that, because elsewhere, if we look at transform shape, this returns a shape object, which is our own type, and that wraps it. So I think I just need to add a shape here and then return it through that. Ultimately, I think nope, not that one. I think transform shape. I think character controller needs to own a transform shape that it can hand out, and that internally has a shape. Oh, yeah. I just seen Quick is one step ahead of me. He already knows what I'm going to say. So, if I remember correctly, Ferdinand, to your point, when we wrote this, I was like, I do not like this. And then I think we went through the docs, and I think we convinced ourselves that the library takes ownership of it, and we did not have to free it afterwards. I'm pretty sure we went through all that legwork. It seems unlikely I would have written it. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I very rarely write new, so I'm very, very careful about when I do write it, and I'm pretty sure we convinced ourselves that this was okay. Otherwise, I would have written an abstraction around it to make sure it got freed, at least when the character controller went out of scope. So maybe this is my own hubris, but I think this is okay, because I don't think I would have let this not be okay. And I don't really want to look and find out, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to solve a different problem at the moment. But it might be fun to go through later and convince ourselves. But I'm pretty sure we went through all the legwork and we convinced ourselves it was okay. Okay, so I think let's start at the API, because that's normally better. Oh, I've not set up any like memory leak and analysis tools, so there's no ASAN or anything, so who knows? We might never know if it leaks. Okay, I don't want that T there. Pretty sure that's not what I want. Okay, so I just think Lua is a good scripting language. It's relatively easy to integrate. It's relatively easy to write. It ticks a lot of the boxes. It was a fun couple of streams to integrate it. We did some fun C++, did some cool templating stuff. I think it was a good time all around. Okay, let's include transform shape. Let's have this have a transformed shape. I'm gonna call it. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be. I think that's what I want to call it. Back in Lua level land, what do I call it? Oh, I can. I can. Ooh, the plot thickens. The entities themselves don't store transform shape. Because transform shape is quite a light object. I think I construct it as and when I need it. Interesting. Okay, so sack that off. Throw that into the C. We actually then just want a... This is very organic today. Physics shape. Okay, we want a shape. What's transform take? Does it take it by pointer? Does it take it by reference? It takes by pointer. So hang on. Pointer. That normally means something else has created it. physics system creates shapes. I think physics system creates shapes. Wow, yes. So const shape. Oh, sure. This needs to this. I think we're nearly there. I think we're nearly there, guys. I think we're nearly there. This needs to construct our shape object. All right. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking. Quacker, I think you're right. I think, yeah, I think we are safe there. Okay, so let's do, not that, let's not do that. That's not what we want to do. We want to do capsule. And then we will we'll write some more code. Let's write some more code. Let's do source physics shape. Capsule shape.h. Let's go to box shape and we'll copy a bunch of that in. I definitely need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. I do need capsule shape. I think this might be a slightly special snowflake in the fact that this constructs the shape itself, but do I? No. Ignore me. Don't know what I'm talking about. Remind me when it all goes wrong in a few minutes, and I promised you that I knew what I was talking about. Okay, so let's go back to the character controller. Oh god, lots of jumping around code today. What the fresh hell is this? New capsule shape. I think this needs like a bunch of floats, doesn't it? Oh, that's hard to read. Half height of cylinder and in radius. Is that what I need? Is that what I pass in? Half height. Float. Half height and float. Radius? I feel like that is not. I feel like I've made that too generic. In half height of cylinder in radius. Oh no, that's fine. They've just added it in because why not? Okay, so we got half height and we got radius, so that's fine. So then, I mean, I guess for completeness, I should expose these, but I'm not convinced I need it. Right, radius. A native handle gives the shape, and then we'll have toString as well. So this will then store. So all I'm doing is just writing my own lightweight abstraction around the jolt type, which is what I want. You can solve all problems with just another layer of abstraction. Okay, I think we're nearly there. Source physics. B. I'm gonna It's going to be horrific. We're just going to yank all that in there, stick that in there, swap those over. Hash include physics capsule shape. We will now and then from here we can do get that in there, and then okay. It started off with just everything in one big exe, which is not how I normally design code, but like because I wanted like the name of the series is main to game, it literally started off as a main. It now is a separate library that the Git executable just loads and drives basically, and then that means it's easier for us to include that code in some of the tooling like the resource packer and link it into the tests. So yes, it's architected now how it probably should have been from the start. I was just doing literally everything organically live. Yeah, so it's a library and a driver basically, as in not like an OS driver, like a thing that drives the library. Right. How do I do it in box shape? Shape types, a little bit of thin RTTI, ASCII, and then half height, and then radius, and then not box shape. Sorry, my big old bald dome's in the way there. Capsule shape, and this. I wish I could remain consistent in my own little world here. Okay, right. So this will then be half height and radius. I probably should give this a name. Okay, return half height, return radius, turn capsule shape, the address of capsule shape, returns the what's the runes? Try and keep it consistent with everything else. What did I do for box shape? Yeah, just that. Okay. There returns to format capsule shape. Oh, that's a free function. Or someone tells me off. I'm trying to build a character controller, but that was the high level goal, and now we are in the weeds of reformatting. Oh no, wait a minute, it's a member function. Sorry, I forgot some of them can be free functions. bring that in there. Okay, now we're cooking. We don't understand why it's grumpy about that. Oh, it's because I've not built it yet. CMake. Capsule shape.cp. All right. Let's just get that blending. Are you sure about that? Right. Oh, make game. Sorry. Make build's another project. I have no plans to do batch rendering or instancing because I don't think this game needs it. It's pretty small. There's only a handful of things to render. Next project. Box shape is also wrong. Good point. So that should also have... Oh, no, it's got that there. How did... Oh, I see what you mean. It would be wrong if it's a free function. Yes. That is the advantage of me doing my own project, is I get to pick the tooling, the tool chain, and I've definitely picked C++23. I would hope that most places are at least on 17 now, and then you can always use format lib or lib format if you need to bring it as a third party, which was effectively the proving ground for stud format and is what became standardized. So you can kind of get it now. Okay, right, so we're back to where we started. Okay, so Lua level. Get rid of this. Let's do const auto player transform shape equals transformed shape player dot controller dot not exposed it yet. Oh, I haven't even wired it all in. What am I doing? Okay, fine. Auto shape const shape pointer. Why? Sorry. There you go. Can you not use MSVC to target XP with stud C++ latest though? Yeah, I think Lua was just the easiest choice, right? And it's kind of all self-contained. Okay. Right, let's go to character controller now. So let's go over here. So I've got shape. So I think what I can do is in here bring in physics capsule shape, and then I should okay, let's give this a name. I should be able to do shape physics system dot it's the Jolt physics system. No, because this has to create shape. Yeah, but if you're just targeting, it's been a while since I've done Windows dev that doesn't involve just running on Windows 10 or 11. Like, you're not just bringing along your own MSVC lib, or you're just using the one that's available on the box. I guess if you're not statically linking in, then yeah, you're tied to whatever they shipped with it. I'm looking at a real piece of misery here. I kind of want all the shapes to go through the physics system because then that owns them. That is the route through. Character controller itself. Who creates the character controller? Because I'm wondering if I just pass the shape in. Yeah, but I still need to call physics system itself isn't static. I still have to invoke a function on the physics system, right? I still have to call. I could just you're right. I could just construct it and not have it go through the physics system. Right. It's basically whether I want to really break the encapsulation, because at the moment the contract is that the physics system creates the shapes, okay, and you have to go through this templated method here, which then means it keeps them internally. Yeah, I think I just got to pass. I think that's just what I've got to do. It just seems weird to have to pass two physics systems in, but I think that's literally all we can do. I'm not saying I like it, but I'm saying that's what we've got. This is internal code anyway. Like, even if I'm not making an engine, but if I were, in this instance of the game, the character controller is all kind of taken care of for you, so it's not the end of the world. It's just not nice. But then a lot of this isn't. Okay, so we should be able to do ps dot create shape, capsule shape, 0.5f time. Okay, let's hoist these out. Guess they don't technically have to be static now either. Times standing height, standing radius. Okay, so that should create that for us, which means in here we can just do shape native handle. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Not so nice. That didn't work. Am I closing that off? Okay. And then in character controller, wherever I called it, after set linear velocity, shove that in here. I think we just had to implement this method, but because we're not simulating rigid bodies through the physics system and the integrator and all that sort of stuff, we have to manually resolve the collisions ourselves, which up until now has actually been easier for us to do. But the interface for the character controller that Jolt provides you says you still have to overload this on contacted added, which is why it looks different naming convention to the rest of my functions. Okay, right, now we're cooking with gas. Okay. Player dot controller dot shape. Then I need to pass in a transform object, which is position position scale rotation. So this will then be player.position, a 1.0f scale, and then I think the rotation is irrelevant because we lock it to the y-axis and it'll only rotate around that, which I think for all intents and purposes, because we don't count angular momentum, it's fine to ignore. I think a lot of modern C++ code is a lot easier to read, and well, at least I would hope so. Okay, oh my goodness, I have exploded outwards. Also, shape is a function. Shape is a function, yes, correct. What does it not like about this? Why is that not? Ooh, interesting. I've misunderstood something. Mrs. Bags is in the chat laughing at what I'm saying. Be on your best behavior. Outrageous. Leave me alone. I've completely lost my train of thought now. Where was I deducing this? I thought it was in the character controller. In player. Why is that not? Yes, I see what's going on. Where else did we use this? Ah, that was it. Okay, was right. I do need to do a return type, but only as a ref. Apologies for my glib comment earlier. You were right. Okay, so now we've got that. We should now be able to do const auto geometry transform shape equals transform shape, and then this should be static entity dot a static collider, which we know is safe to dereference, well, not dereference, to access the internally, to access the optional, because we've already checked, we've filtered out the ones that aren't valid for, and then I guess that I think we can do the same trick because it's all static. Position. I'm not sure about the only thing I'm not sure about is the scale. I think then we have to do like a random scaling for the jolt stuff. This is gonna be an absolute nightmare to debug. It's gonna be absolute misery. And then let's just do if player transform shape dot intersects with geometry transform shape. This is where we're trying to get to. No idea what a function is. Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to want that. I think we need to abstract that magical number away somewhere. Let's do log debug player collides with world. I got a feeling this is going to be absolutely mad because I think we're always walking along the, always colliding with the floor. And also, I can't move the window anymore because I locked the mouse. Ah, it doesn't work anyway. Function takes 2 arguments. That would be correct. They are not wrong. Physics system 168. Are we passing this in from a constructor when it's not fully finished? Is that well defined to hand out this even after a constructor's not finished? It does seem risky. Oh, hang on. Start up a game. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, it's startup keepsake, the game from the last video. I literally, apparently we're playing this now. Where's that come from? I've obviously got it as a hotkey or as a recent item somewhere. These arrows are longer than before. No. No overload function, convert all the argument types. Oh, that's risky. Okay, well, there's someone on Stack Overflow. I mean, it is just a pointer, right? And the memory has to have been allocated and will be partially initialized. Okay, smaller error now, so we're getting there. Lua level 273. Lua level 273. What's it not like? Oh, do I have to? What is the static collider? I thought it was a shape. Oh, it is already a transformed. It's already a transformed. Interesting. So, in fact, this goes away. And we just do star static entity dereference is bind has lower precedence than the arrow operator, so I think I will need to convert it into a reference first and then do shape static. No, what am I doing? Static. Sorry, I had 25 minutes then. Static collider. There you go. And then I just need to pull that out, the optional. There we go. I don't know if we're going to getting all this done in sight stream, but it's fine. We can spill over. Ah, here's my linker errors. It's not too bad. Basically, I have not implemented something, and I can't remember what it was. The unresolved symbol has static collider in entity. My wife is harassing me from the next room. Right, static collider there. And entity. Okay, and then we can do the old return bang bang static collider. Okay. Hello, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I know. I do appreciate the C++ errors are not necessarily conducive to kind of good streaming experience. It's been bullied. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the DR videos. They're good fun to make. They're quite stressful, but they're good fun to make. Okay, right. So let's run this. So if we just quit this, do we see anything? Ooh, we crashed. That's upsetting. Okay, maybe let's try something a little bit more. Let's just run into the wall and see what happens. That is true. Okay, so if I smash myself into the wall here. I just how to even be where to even begin. So much of this could be off. Like the scale could be off. Like that could be 5 because we've used a magic 5 elsewhere. Ooh, my wife concurs that it is indeed not supposed to be doing that. I think it might be one for Wednesday. Yeah, I want to put in some more debugging anyway, just to see if we are iterating through correctly, seeing how many comparisons we're doing. Because yeah, I should not be able to do this, or at least it should log and tell me that I'm doing that. I'm a little bit concerned about this crash as well. I'm actually just gonna. I want to see if that's something I've introduced. So I'm just going to see. Let's catch all exceptions. What's going on there? I suspect a lifetime issue that we've introduced. Okay, so in the capsule shape. So in the physics system destructor, I wonder if this is. Yes, we've made quite a lot of progress. I'm a bit disappointed you only check in on the streams every 6 months, once every 6 months, but maybe twice a year isn't too bad. I suspect the issue is I think this, because we newed it, this is taking ownership of it. So what does it actually take? It does just take a pointer though. Don't know. Do not know. I might need to mull this one over. So there's two issues. One is we've introduced some sort of weird lifetime issue such that something's being probably destroyed twice, I would guess. So that's why that goes. There's a crash there at the end. I'm not too fussed about that because I think that's just a case of getting the ducks in a row. What's more concerning to me is the fact that this doesn't when I would like it to. So this is actually, let's just, if this gets printed, then the issue is with here, which is a pain to debug, but is ultimately a solvable problem. I think they've got a lot of common concepts, so I don't think it's probably too hard to integrate any of them. But I wouldn't like to say I don't think Jolt is any harder than Bullet, and I've used Bullet before, so I'm not saying they're easy. I just don't think one is necessarily more complex than the other. Okay, right. I suppose actually it's easier for me just to smash into this wall, isn't it? Okay. Okay, right. So it's definitely... That's just more of a sanity check. It's definitely finding entities through which we would want to collide. I'm curious as to why... I really don't know how we're going to do this. I think the answer might be to simplify. It's probably a scale. See, these here have one. And these never get updated. You know what I reckon the issue is it's probably, well, there's 10 there for a start. I wonder if we never pay too much attention to, we had to create a transformed shape, but I was only really doing that to facilitate constructing the internal jolt shape, which I could then draw the debug layer on. So I wonder if, like, that is just somehow inherently wrong. I will try and change the magical 5 to a magical 10, but I hold no hope. Other than that, I think we will. They are all 0, 0, but I don't know if that's because of the way. But the mesh data is offset in model space, so the mesh data we've given it, I think it must be correct because it can draw the shapes. I don't know if it's using. I know the point you're trying to make, and I can't quite articulate why, but I'm hoping because we can effectively draw the debug lines in almost the right place. I think it's okay, but because I think I might actually be slightly above the floor here. But I mean, this definitely causes an intersection. Yeah, I don't know. I think we might need to spend Wednesday going through the docs to try and find out what it might actually do. The other thing to do is just check for intersections with the existing dynamic entities, because we know that works. I think that's what we'll do first next stream, is we will check that we will replace this code with code that checks the intersection with the regular entities. So I guess, is that easy enough as just saying that and then just changing this to bounding box. Oh, yes, good point from my wife. I will be on a train on the way back from our capital, our darling capital city, on Wednesday. And every time I've been on the train for the last week, it's been delayed because UK public transportation is dire. One time I was delayed because there was a cow on the line. So Wednesday might be a slightly later start, but hopefully not. Indeed. Okay, so can I intersect with this? No. Okay. Everything is bad and I hate it. But next time we will figure out why. I think the first thing to do is see if I can... We must be able to collide with the boxes because we've done it before, right? We should be able to move them around. So... Yes. I think the next thing to do is we'll strip it all back. We won't worry about the static geometry. We'll just see if we can intersect with the... Because we know that... Ah, that was true, yeah. Well, we know this works, right? So if we can just make this work with us, then we at least know that the character controller shape works, and then we can then figure out whether the issue is with that or with the geometry. And then we can check, and then we can check that the entities can collide with the static geometry. So I think if we can solve both those cases, then us with static geometry should work. I think that's going to be my plan. What have we done? Oh my goodness. So let's say shape. Capsule shape. Add has collider method to entity. Expose controller from player. Character controller. So character controller creates capsule shape. There's a bug in that, and then attempt player geometry collision detection. I won't do a build today because it's a little bit unhappy. Stream 78. Right. I've heard you've removed the peak pairs. I'm very jealous. Okay, that's probably all I've got today. Thanks very much for coming around and hanging out. Indeed, go join the Discord. It's a grand time, as generally had by all. Wednesday, trains permitting, but we should be back at 8 o'clock and we will tackle this. We'll get this solved. I'm reasonably confident we can get this solved in a stream. But yeah, I hope everyone had fun, and I will see you all anon.